So when you think about the real-world data movement and the beginnings of it, it really happened 5 or 6 years ago with the Affordable Care Act, where there was EMR adoption enforced on providers. And you see this huge spike from basically EMR adoption in the 10s to the 80s in about 5 or 6 years. And all this information, which used to be in a black box, is now digitized. The second main milestone was the Affordable Care Act, which essentially mandated for the first time that the federal government would consider alternatives to traditional clinical trial information, i.e. real-world data. And since then, what is really driving adoption and consideration of real-world data is validation work, cross-industry validation work. So I think about the last year, I think about the Friends of Cancer research efforts that have come a long way. I think about Duke Margolis and a lot of these policy stakeholders that are working with industry partners, with data companies and sponsors to define what are real-world data endpoints. How do we consider this information in lieu of clinical trial information? So of course, the best way to advance the movement is examples, and probably the most exciting example this year was Pfizer's Ibrance being approved with no clinical trial information at all, exclusively using real-world data. So I think what we're going to see moving forward is continued applications and adoptions like Pfizer Ibrance, as well as additional methodology work.